So we asked 7,000 Slavic women what their preferred age gap was, and the results may shock you. Now, we've done videos about age gaps before based on our opinion, but now we have a superpower where Luba's social circle, or social media, she can actually ask them for their opinion. And so that's what we did. So now we're going to give you the truth about what they want in a man, in an age gap, in a relationship.
Yeah, so I was just walking and I was thinking, I never asked that question out loud, you know, so we always like kind of guessed or like we speak about 23% age gap, but then I thought like I have such a big audience now, why don't ask? And also like in our Rocket Club meeting, we discussed that we have a special even like a section where the guys helping me to do different surveys. So if you have a question that you would like me to ask for the ladies, for example, such as what is the age gap?
Do they like bald guys or do they prefer beards or something? We can ask them.
Yeah, we can ask, and it's interesting because I can do videos about that as a part.
So join Rocket Club, link down below.
Yeah, so I did that, and maybe I made a mistake, I don't know, but for me, when I was asking in my mind, the question was, what is the biggest age gap that you allow like to have between you and your man? And the answer shocked me. Almost like everyone answered that, are you talking about more like older or younger? So a lot of ladies start writing down that they're looking for younger men. That for me was a big, I don't know, eye-opener, shock. We discussed it with Striker. So some of the ladies, they said like, I would like him to be like, you know, 5 years younger and like 7 years older. Somebody wrote minus 15 years and plus 5 only.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, and I like this thought. You can share.
Should I share that now?
Yes, yes.
You know, I think that it depends on the level of income or the stability that the woman actually has herself. So if she's saying, I'd rather have a younger man, or I would like to have a younger man, it's because she's already sort of stable in life, single, and she's already, you know, she's happy with that, and adding a toy boy to come along and, you know, be there for the good times, if you know what I mean, and also to make her feel younger as well. I think that she has to be stable in her career or in her financial situation, we'll say that.
Because most of the ladies who answer like minus, it's the ladies like 40 plus, so 40 to 50, like 52, like they want somebody younger.
They want to get back in there.
Because I personally never thought about that ever, but like I'm thinking, you know, maybe when I will turn 40, like that will be my thought. Because like I was thinking the guy needs to be older. I don't know.
We just assumed that was the premise of the question, right?
Yeah, but nobody, and like one lady said, like, you know, 25 plus and 25 minus, it's a big difference. What exactly do you mean? So I was surprised by that amount of discussion that video done.
Can I just add here? Also, when you ask those questions, people say their ideal situation. So a young, tall, handsome man who has money
and who is like walking like half naked and fixing the stuff at home.
And it's the same with anything. If they say an older man, well, he's an older, distinguished gentleman, you know, with a good job, or, you know, maybe a business, maybe lots of fancy cars. So they picture same with the guys, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like when the guy pictures the woman, guy, she's, you know, 10 years younger, she's blonde, she's, you know, what you picture your ideal woman. So these are they're sort of like self-reported. It's like a self-reported survey. So we can only take some information from it, but it's still insightful for you guys to know. So we thought we'd make a video about it.
What is interesting, I agree with Striker. I think that he's right about this. Like when the lady is older, she wants somebody younger, but when the lady is younger, she wants somebody older. One lady said, and that is interesting, I found, she said, if the girl is like 20, then 20 years age gap is not a problem. But if the lady is 40 and the 20 years age gap become for her more like problematic because she's still very active and the guy is like, you know, like according to Ukrainian standards or European standards, like getting older. Even although a lot of ladies they mention that it depends on the guy. It depends on the guy, because if the guy is like fit and good looking and active, then, you know, age is just a passport number. And a lot of people admit it as well.
And we've seen examples
And we've seen examples of that. You know, we have some guys who, like recently we have a new guy who signed up, like, I don't know, when he sent a picture, I was sitting there like, wow, like he's so fit and he's so like, you know, energetic. And even though he's like older, but he looks absolutely amazing. And we spoke with him, so it's not just like Photoshop pictures, if some of you think so. You know, there was Dasha girl. She said that when she was younger, she was dating a guy who was 30 years older than her, but now she would not accept a difference more than 10 years. This is her thoughts. Так, the next one said they thought, one lady said that she thought always that the guy can be maximum 5 years older, but now she's with a guy who is 17 years older than her, and she's like, it's her happiest and best relationship ever.
Some of this may come from maybe what her parents had an age gap. You know, like if her parents had like a 20-year age gap.
Nobody mentioned that, you know, nobody said about the parents. I mean, you're
Well,
right.
They'd have to think one level deeper to do that, wouldn't they? So, but maybe it is like if they had parents with a large age gap, it's absolutely, completely, totally normal for have a large age gap.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not something strange. But if they don't, then maybe it is something strange as well.
So they, like a lot of, like couple of ladies said that when there's a 20 years age difference, it is a generation. Because in Ukraine, a lot of people used to have children when they were 19, 20, 21. So like, for example, my mom, we have a 20 years age gap with her. And so some of the ladies sometimes say, you know, when the guy requests, like older guy requests a younger lady, she say, oh, he's the age of my dad. So they just can't do it. They just can't like pass that line, because anyway they need to introduce and you to the dad, and so they're not open to that. But some ladies, they are open, you know, and it's interesting. So I think that nowadays, as I also already mentioned, and somebody quote me on that, they said, oh, Luba, you're saying that you can find anyone to anybody. It's true. Because I realized when I have such a huge amount of different people around me, ladies, like everybody is looking for, you know, something. So asking for a bigger age gap, okay. You know, like, of course, there should be other aspects of life covered.
Yeah, we talk about, when I explain this to guys, I say that before they come on as a client, they talk about the, you know, when we say, well, what type, it's sort of like a qualifying question, I guess, and it lets us know, you know, is this person going to be reasonable to work with? And if they say, you know, a 25-year age gap or something like that, or they say an age range that makes us go, well, that's like, you know, 25 to 35-year age gap, then I do my explanation, which is about the value offset. So that age gap for her is a negative value. You know, maybe a small one is nothing, but 25, 30-year age gap is a negative value if we were to look at the whole picture. So there has to be something that offsets that value. And quite often it's lifestyle, it's money, it's how she will be treated. It's not just about the material things as well, like money and all that sort of stuff. It's how you make her feel. And we saw an example, I think it was recently, where Tom Brady, who I don't know anything about American NFL, but I do know the fact that he's good looking, he's rich, he's tall, or whatever all those things are. He's a famous sports person, and his wife still left him for a karate teacher. All right? So there's something that was lacking there that made her go, I'm not being fulfilled. So what was it? Was he too busy to pay attention to her? Was he always working? You know, what was it that made her go, I need something else that a man that is not super famous can give me? So when I say you have to stack these things on top of each other, it's not about stacking, like give her a new Porsche or a bigger house or a more blue swimming pool, whatever it is. It's how you make her feel, and you have to understand these things. And that's the problem with some of these, you know, red pill channels, is they don't go to any of this depth at all. They just teach you about, or they try to teach you about, just make money and the woman will come to you and that's all you need.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. We see examples of women leaving men that seemingly have it all the time, and we just can't seem to understand why.
All of the ladies, like with whom I speak, at the moment they all say that they were dreaming about rich men, and they in one point of time they got relationship and it was absolutely toxic. It was abusive. It was very demanding. It was very possessive. So nobody actually like said, yeah, it was the best relationship in my life, and unfortunately we broke up. No, and like it doesn't mean that they want to be with somebody broke, or the guy who is like, no, you don't drink coffee today because you drank it yesterday. So it's like money is important. We always discuss that. Like money is very important in this life. Anything you want to do, you need money for that. So money is like a baseline, really. So yes, of course, if you make a little bit more, if you can get a little bit fancier stuff, or you can get something nicer, it is always welcome. But it doesn't mean that it's the only one that is important, because when they speak about how the guy care about me, how the guy like, you know, reach out to me, how he messaged me, how he sent me something, how he thought about or remember something that I told him before and he did that to me like once we met. So that's what matters. But what I want to like summarize, there's a lot of ladies, they said, you know, 5 years maximum for them, the age gap, 7 years, 10, 15, 12, 20, somebody said. But I would say that the average, this is reality check, right? We call it like this, these surveys, we call reality check. So it's not that somebody will tell you or we will like imagine something. This is the reality check. The maximum age gap that is acceptable by ladies, it is 12 years. So like if you want to be in a normal, stable, healthy, welcoming, caring, loving, passionate sexual relationship, that should be in these age brackets. Yes, of course, if you're like stunningly looking, super healthy and etc., it can be an exception, so, you know, up to 20, but not more than that. And I've been always saying that. And before we were saying with Striker that, oh, we don't support, you know, big age gap. At the moment, we kind of like not change our mind, but we are open because we know that we have different ladies and we have different guys. But in general, like to maintain the healthy relationship for the rest of your life, that is what you should.
Yeah, and there is one way that I'm sure we made a video about this way back in Ukraine, of how you can sort of ensure a larger age gap, and that is if she has young kids, right?
Yeah.
But then, does the longevity of that relationship last? I think it's more likely to, because there are kids involved, and then, you know,
A little bit more like you got like
a cohesive unit together. So that is one way, but then, you know, you have to offset her age with taking care of kids. If she's got one kid or two, seems to be the case if that happens. And some guys are. I mean, he may have his own kids. I always recommend that if the guy is has no kids, then he does not look at a woman who has two young kids. I think he would be a bit ridiculous.
Friend, honestly, that's why people do the matchmaking. It's like when we speak, when we discuss, and every situation is different. We had a guy who was older, but he can't have children. He was happy if the woman would have a child, or like his children grow up and like he doesn't want to have his own children, but he's welcoming your child, or he doesn't want to have children.
Yeah, it depends on the age. Depends on the age of the guy. If the guy's young, if he's like in his late 20s, early 30s, then...
Interesting fact, what happened yesterday. It's a little bit not related to this video, but it's interesting. So one of my ladies, like one of my clients, she reached out to me and she said, would you work with a Western woman? And I'm like, and it's not the first time that Western woman is reaching out to us, and I kind of like don't know what to do with them.
I got asked at the airport the other day.
Yeah,
with those two girls that were there.
So like I don't know what to do with them yet, and so but because it's a friend and she's a friend of a friend, and I said, okay, give her my Instagram. So we start talking to her, and it's interesting. She's 43 years old. She really wanted to have a children, but unfortunately she didn't meet a right guy. She's a nice lady. She's good looking, speaks English. She's half Czech, half Swiss. So 43 years old, never been married, no kids, wanted to have children. Now understand that this is not really a thing for her. And what she said, I said, are you open to the guy if he has children? And she said, not really. I already been a stepmom for some guy, you know, with children. And she said, I want this man to be mine. Like, I don't want to share him with children. So that is your opinion. The same, I think, happening with the guys sometimes when they don't want to share the lady with her children. But every situation is different. But what is interesting is that, you know, people have very different opinion about the age gap and about everything. So
we actually, I just remembered it. Then when we were at the Matchmakers conference back in May, afterwards we spoke with another matchmaker that was there, remember? And we had the call with her afterwards. And she was a Western woman, but she used to date a younger Ukrainian guy, right?
Russian man, yeah.
A Russian guy, yeah. And so she was saying to us, like, why don't you do the matchmaking the other way? So Western woman, and I
older,
guess
rich Western woman.
Yeah,
older.
rich Western woman, and a younger Ukrainian. And we had a Zoom call with her, and we're thinking, you know, people have joked about this for a while. Like, we've joked about it. And we thought, but no one's ever really come to us as if it was like a real thing. So we said that we would do it, and we sat around and afterwards, and we were with your auntie, and we're like, well, what could we call something like that? And your auntie said, call it rich bitch. but it never eventuated. But we were willing to do it. We had one guy that was looking. Yeah. She just had to find, so she would find the older woman, and we would find the younger Ukrainian guys.
I'm embarrassed to even discuss that.
For me, it was like all I wanted to see is like, could this actually be a thing?
And I started asking.
We did the photos, everything.
For the brothers, we took a photo session of him. It is possible. You know, the cool thing about, like, I never believed that I will get to that point. Like, I never. It's not that I didn't believe in myself. I couldn't think that this is even possible, but everything is possible. And so now there is no limits in matchmaking for us, because I see, to be honest, like, and I don't want to sound like arrogant or anything like that, how our like partners, like I'm in this association and this like in many groups, like, and they like struggling to find a match. And we don't need anyone. I mean, it's not that we don't need anyone. It's maybe rude to say, but it's like people coming to us now because they know that we are the best. Like, I talk about the girls and the guys. They know that they can reach out to us and they can find almost anything they want. Right?
Yeah.
And that is that is excited, like that is exciting, and that is very powerful, because, and it's not that, it's for me like a game, oh, I can find anything. I can literally help person to find, like for the ladies, sometimes they ask for something, specific. Like I have a lady that I recently introduced. She can't have children, but she would love to find a guy with kids, and we have a guy with 3 kids. So like that is really like it's very personal, and it's very sensitive topic, but it's very cool. I love it. Thank you for watching, and if you have any ideas for what I should ask the ladies, put in the comments, but better to put it in Rocket Club